we will start with the first panelist. So I will call for Mr. Reverend Benny Giay, and I will ask a question for Mr. Benny Giay, and Pa Benny Giay will respond to the question. So our question to Pa Benny is, to what extent is the experience of racism and oppression connected to West Papuan nationalism that emerged during the anti-racist uprising in August and September in 2019? So that's the question, and please, Pa Benny, responds to the question, and you have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for Usman, Anu, Rosa, Jorombiak, who else, and others. We as a church and as a community, right now we are in the midst of yeah, radical change, but also crisis because of the pressure from the system, from Indonesians. We think now it's related to racism. That has something to do with development politics and ideology in the past 60 years. Military operation is part of that. So when we see this racism protest since last year, 16th of August, we try to connect this with the history of Papuans, West Papuans contact, and now in the past 60 years with Indonesians. It is, I think first we started with this theme, this racist approach to West Papuans with Indonesian coming in with the propaganda in the early 1960s that they said that they're going to, they've come here to, yeah, membuat orang Papua sejajar dengan suku-suku lain. So they want to make us stand equal with other Indonesians from other islands. With that frame, I think they started to, first act they did was in early May, they collected all the books, documents, journals about culture, history, politics, and piled them up in the front of Parliament, provincial Parliament building now, and burn them, which we think is what exactly Hitler did in 1938, I think, in April, where he collected all the books, the journals, the documents from these Jewish people and burned them. So that's how Indonesian came to West Papua early 1960s. And with that move, we Papuans became people without identity, people without culture, people without history. So with all the politics of development, they want to give us their history, their culture, their way of life, to, of course, with the idea to make us West Papuans think, act, behave like West Indonesians. And all the institutions, including our churches here, 1965, 1964, 1965, all the church leaders, missionary leaders were taken to Java, to Bogor. At the time, they were brainwashed for 6 days, and before coming back, they make this statement. that from now on they were going to support Indonesian system, Indonesian politics. So that's how we started with this. With these two moves, I think Indonesian military operation came in, which was part of this, the way they want to train us to change us West Papuans to become Indonesians. So I think now what we see now is we try to relate this 16th of October of August incident and racist incident in Surabaya. It's a kind of if I can relate it to what this Jewish scholar who says define violence. I think it was not violence, but I think it was what took place in Surabaya was defines God's shouting at us as West Papuans, as churches, journalists, lawyers, solidarity group to take this seriously. We Papuans have become 1 million people already, and we had to speak up. So that's the way I see this incident of 16th of August last year. And if I want to talk about racism today, I want to talk about what can we do for future so we can still live in our land. Our future generation will live in our land, in our ancestral lands. So I think when I talk about racism today, I'm talking about what we can do. I think as a church, I think this idea of racist is listed by Lippi as a source of conflict. There are 4 sources of conflict that listed by Lippi in their research. I think it came out 2019, I think. One of them is this discrimination and marginalization. And I think I want to encourage you people to stand with us, churches and communities. Hopefully, if there's no second chance for special autonomy law, we have to stop with all these development issues, policies. We have to make sure that we all communities, all elements of civil and society church groups in West Papua demand government to seriously settle these 4, actually 5, according to us, 5 sources of conflict. For church, first is, according to us, our church, we think injustice. Injustice is one of the issue in West Papua, especially in adopting peaceful approach to West Papuan struggle. This we start from based on the fact that Indonesian government has this peaceful approach, dialogue approach with Aceh. I think it was 2009. They have, Indonesians have settled, Indonesians have approached, taken time to get the GAM, Aceh Liberation Movement, to sit and talk, and they were able to come up with this idea of a third party who can mediate between the two, and end up with this Helsinki agreement. We want the same. We want the same. We West Papuan want the same. And on August 26th of August last year, 4 churches has addressed the people by issuing a pastoral letter saying that what to end this, according to a journalist, war of a long-term war, Indonesian war on Papua. To end that, we had to get Jokowi to come and talk to and have this open dialogue with ULMWP, KNPB, and all those. We want the same because that's what SBY and Yusuf Kala did. So what we are asking now to end this conflict is to President Jokowi to follow the footstep of President SBY. This is injustice if with Aceh, Indonesia can sit and talk, invite third party to mediate, but continue to label, to stigmatize ULMWP and KNPB. Another issue with Aceh is that Aceh, Indonesia, government of Indonesia allowed that Aceh, as part of special autonomy bill, was that they can raise the gum flat. In Papua, it can. Also, in the special autonomy law of Aceh, Aceh can start their own local political party, and we Papua don't have that. So we churches in West Papua are just demanding just that. If there's a special autonomy law for the second term, second 20 years ahead, we are asking your support to stand with us. We want to end this conflict. We want to end this conflict in demanding this conflict to Jakarta to deliver this peace. There is no peace without justice. So we think, as a church, we think one of the problems is injustice. So we think that if they have Indonesia have this Pancasila, the Indonesian state philosophy, if they still have this first principle, belief in one God, and second is humanity, and third, the last one is justice. Yeah, if that Pancasila is still around, they still have that. We want just that. Jokowi to come and tell us, yeah, this is justice for you. We want to settle this conflict with Papua by sitting together with ULMP to talk. And before I go to second step, I want to remind us all that indeed last year, I think it was in September, 30th of September, Jokowi has, through online media, said that he was going to talk to Papuan group who are struggling, asking for referendum. So let's remind Jokowi that he has made this statement last year. We still have made those in online media now. So that's one of the, for us as a church in West Papua, one of the ways to stop this racist, racist development and military approach to West Papua is to deliver, give us, we want justice in the Jakarta's approach to ULMWP, to the Papuan struggle. Second, we also want to ask you to be with us, because if we are still around, if God, Indonesians do not kill us once, right away, we want to, in the future, we want to demand government to settle all the all four sources of conflict listed by LIPI. They talk about one of the sources of conflict between Papua and Jakarta is the discrimination, which I think racial discrimination is there, which led to total systematic marginalization of West Papuans. One. Second is there is a difference of view about Indonesian take away of West Papua. Papuans say you come to as a colonizer to take invade us, to colonize us, West Papuans. Indonesians say, yeah, Papua is part of Indonesian territory, and you will listen to that question. I tell you what Tadi Jogui, the leader of leader, has to say. Yeah, I'll say in Indonesian. Ya, kalau benar Indonesia harus tunjukkan kepada kami di mana tempat kebun nenek moyangnya di tanah Papua di mana. So if Indonesia is really indeed want to take our land, Indonesia has to tell us where the the hunting ground or farming ground of his ancestors in Papua. So that second problem issue listed by LIPI. Third is the failure of the Indonesian state government to develop economic, education, and healthcare of West Papuans. Four, impunity. This human rights violation has been going on all the time, on and on. And the government has no intention to address them. So I think when we are talking about this racism, if with Aceh, Indonesia can approach President SBY and Jokowi can go after them, get them to talk, have this dialogue, inviting third party to settle the problem. Why cannot Indonesia do with Papua? Second, LIPI is a state-sponsored organization. It's the government who sponsored this LIPI to do this research. They have come up with all these four sources of conflict. Why can't Indonesia take those issues seriously? Forget all the division of new provinces, forget all those building roads, forget all those building military institutions in West Papua. Forget that. Why can't he do that? If we think we are human beings, if Indonesians think we are not monkey, we have to tell the government to tell us that Indonesia is see us as human beings, just like those stupid Javanese or stupid Batak, or there are also a lot of stupid Papuans too. So let's demand that. So with that, I think what we want you to, our people, is let us ask about ask President Jokowi whether he was serious last year, September 30th of September, when he said he want to see this group from West Papua who are demanding a referendum. Let us talk about it. I was in Jakarta 26th of September after burying one of the victim of this 20 student who was killed in Waena 23rd of September. I was told that there was Jokowi was indeed interested in having this dialogue. And if that is true, he is responding to our church demand that we issued in 26th of October. So I'm raising this, that racism is there if these challenges, these options from different group in Indonesia and Papua is not taken seriously by Indonesia. And I thank you people all around the world who are taking this Papuan Lives Matter, Black people's life matter. Thank you, all of you. So I'm optimist. I'm trying to see myself as our ancestors in 1980s, 50s, 1850s, from people from Biak. I'm trying to be part of our people who in south of Papua, Bedshed, in Central Highlands, who are dreaming for new world, new era to come, and come up with this religious movement. And I'm thinking about our church leaders who also believe that, oh, maybe church will help us to bring this new world to come. So let's us part of this. So I'm part of this and try to be part of this new world to come, and let us make this, establish all these crimes, all these new pharaohs to get this, get what Papuans killed. Is that okay?
Yes.
Let's do the job.
Mantap, Pak C.
Usman, terima kasih banyak, luar biasa kamu. Kau kasih saya kekuatan. You give me strength to go to stand up all the time. Usman, Hamid, and all you people. Thank you very much. And journalists too.
Thank you, Reverend Benny, with very, very strong and deep explanation and about our experience as a West Papuan, his view, but also he's talking about the racism that happened in West Papua is actually started since the beginning when the colonizer came, either it's European or now with the new rules. The same pattern they use, which is try to change our identity to become like them. We, the Papuans, we have our own identity, our own uniqueness, but then slowly it's been structured and systematic in every aspect of our lives, and it changes slowly, and we become, they try to make us to become like them. So I think that's the summary of what highlight that Reverend Benny is trying to say. So